A king is tied to a tree. His back is opened while he is still alive, the ribs pulled wide. The screaming goes on for a long time. The man who ordered this is not standing over him with a blade in his hand. He is sitting, watching, calm. He cannot walk. He may never have walked a day in his life, and yet every king in England is afraid of him. This is the story of Ivar the Boneless, the most dangerous Viking who ever lived, not because of what he could do with his body, but because of what he could do with his mind. His father was Ragnar Lothbrok. If you know that name, you already understand the pressure Ivar was born into. Ragnar was the most celebrated Viking of his age, raider, king, legend, a man whose reputation had spread so far that even the enemies who hated him told his story. His mother was Auslog. The sagas call her a seer, a woman with foresight, a woman who knew things before they happened. She knew something before their wedding night. She warned Ragnar they must wait 3 nights before consummating the marriage. 3 nights, or their firstborn son would pay for his father's impatience with his body.
Ragnar did not wait. 3 nights together, but yet apart, shall we bide. For my son, this would save a lasting harm. For boneless he thou would now beget. Read that as prophecy or poetry. It comes to the same place. The child born of Ragnar's impatience came into the world already marked, already carrying something no one could name. His name was Ivar, and from his first breath, something about him was wrong or different. The sagas couldn't decide which. No source written anywhere near his lifetime tells us directly why they called him boneless. The explanations survive in fragments, and they contradict each other so completely that the contradiction itself becomes the answer. We are dealing with a man who unsettled people enough that they invented multiple versions of what he was. One tradition says he could not walk, that he was carried into battle on a shield by his own warriors, that his men bore him above the fighting on their shoulders while the world below them bled. If you have ever tried to understand what kind of leader inspires that kind of loyalty, a man whose soldiers will carry him into the mouth of a battle, then you are already inside the mystery of Ivar. Another tradition says the opposite, that he was enormous, over 6 feet, dense with muscle and power, that boneless was Viking irony, the same black humor that named a red-haired man, Eric the Red, boneless because his bones were the last thing wrong with him.
A third reading doesn't touch his body at all. It traces his name to the Latin word for hatred, applied to him by the Christian populations who watched him burn their monasteries, execute their priests, and erase their royal lines. Boneless, hated. We don't know which is true. What we do know is that men who could run died for a man who couldn't stand. That should tell you everything. His first recorded act of war happened when he was 7 years old. Ragnar's enemies had risen against him in Scandinavia. The Jutes and Scanians had stripped him of his kingship and raised a man named Harold in his place. Saxo Grammaticus recorded what Ragnar did. He called every man he could find, veterans, old men, boys. Ivar answered. In his 7th year, he fought beside his father and acquitted himself, the sagas say, with the strength of a grown man. We cannot verify that. What we can say with certainty is that this was where he was shaped, watching his father use violence as a political instrument, watching cunning operate alongside force, learning that war was not for the strongest body in the room. The rest of his childhood disappears from the record. History loses him for years. When it finds him again, he is a man, and Ragnar is dead.
Ragnar Lothbrok was captured by Ella of Northumbria and executed in a pit of snakes. The sources differ on the details. They agree on the fact. The greatest Viking of his generation died at an English king's command in a foreign country, far from his sons. Ivar heard, and here is where other men would have made the mistake that gets you killed. A lesser son would have grabbed whatever ships he had, crossed the sea in grief and fury, and thrown himself at Northumbria with every man he could muster. Ella would have been ready for that. Any king worth a name would be ready for that. Ivar didn't rage. He didn't grieve, not visibly, not in any way that cost him. He planned. He sailed to England. His ships were small, not strong enough to fight, so he did something no one saw coming from the son of the man Ella just killed. He begged for land from the man who murdered his father. He approached Ella with peace in his hands and asked for a strip of territory, just a small one, just enough to settle on. He swore he would never raise arms against the Northumbrian king. He performed gratitude. He performed submission. Ella gave him the land. Why wouldn't he? The son of his greatest enemy had come not with an army, but with his hat in his hands. It seemed like a victory.
That was the clever part. What came next was the devastating part. Ivar used the land. He spent months, perhaps years, quietly building men, resources, alliances, intelligence on Northumbrian defenses. He sat in the territory his enemy had gifted him and turned it into a weapon. He made time fight for him. When he was ready, he sent word to his brothers, Halfdan, Ubba, Bjorn Ironside. They came with 400 ships. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle records the arrival of 865 with unusual restraint, as if the monks writing it couldn't find language large enough. They called it a great heathen army, the largest Viking force England had ever seen. At its head stood Ivar, his brothers beside him, every one of them carrying the same debt. They marched north into Northumbria, towards York, towards Ella. The battle didn't last long. The Anglo-Saxon army broke. Ella was taken alive. 2 kingdoms were already within reach. He was just getting started. What happened to Ella next is one of the most disputed events in all of Viking history. The sagas call it the Blood Eagle, the flesh of the back cut open, the ribs broken from the spine, the lungs drawn out through the wound and spread like wings. Historians have spent 2 centuries arguing about whether it happened. The practice appears in enough independent sources to resist easy dismissal, but every source is late, every account shaped by the dramatic conventions of its age. we cannot say with certainty that it happened.
What we can say is this: Ella died in Ivar's custody. The manor was remembered across multiple cultures and multiple centuries as something that stood apart from ordinary violence, something that was meant to mean something. The son of Ragnar Lothbrok had delivered his father's answer. He installed a puppet ruler in Northumbria and turned south, one kingdom down. He was not the kind of man who stopped. In 868, the great heathen army moved into Mercia and took winter quarters at Nottingham. Burgrad of Mercia did what surrounded kings do. He called for help. Aethelred of Wessex answered. His younger brother, Alfred, came with them, a prince who would one day be called Great, though none of that was visible yet. A combined army assembled before the Danish position. On paper, Ivar was cornered, outnumbered, winter closing, enemies on all sides. Ivar negotiated. He secured a peace treaty. He withdrew to York. He used the year to consolidate and watch. Henry of Handington, writing a century and a half later, called him a cunning fox. But foxes are reactive. Ivar was something colder than that. He knew when a position couldn't be taken by force, and he had no pride that stopped him from stepping back. He treated survival as a tactical decision, not a personal failing. That made him more dangerous than any man who simply refused to lose.
In 870, the army moved into East Anglia. King Edmund was waiting for them. Christian king, principled man. He made an offer. Share power with me, convert to my faith, rule East Anglia alongside me as equals. Ivar refused. Then he destroyed Edmund's army at the Battle of Hagaliston, captured the king alive, and staged something that was less an execution than a theological experiment. The 10th century monk Abbo of Fleury recorded what happened next, drawing on the account of Edmund's own armor-bearer. Edmund was tied to a tree and beaten, shot with arrows until, in Abbo's words, he was covered in them like a porcupine's bristles. Throughout it all, he refused to deny Christ. He kept calling on God. God did not come. Ivar had him beheaded. The church made Edmund a saint. His cult spread across East Anglia within a generation. The town of Bury St. Edmunds carries his name to this day. Ivar had wanted to see whether faith was armor. He drew his own conclusion. Edmund's brother fled to Dorset and became a hermit, abandoning his royal claim entirely. The East Anglian dynasty ended that afternoon. He left the army in England under his brothers and crossed to Ireland, where he co-ruled Dublin alongside a Norse king named Olaf the White. It didn't take long for the next target to present itself. Dumbarton Rock, an ancient fortress of the Strathclyde Britons, perched on a volcanic crag where two rivers met. It had held against Picts, Scots, and Angles across centuries of assault. No one had taken it. Ivar didn't try to break it. He and Olaf besieged it in 870, 4 months, according to the Annals of Ulster. They waited. They cut off supply lines. They let the fortress kill itself from the inside. When the water ran out, Dumbarton fell. 200 ships left laden with plunder and captives. One more unconquerable thing had been conquered by patience. Ivar returned to Dublin in 871.
and ruled as King of the Northmen of all Ireland and Britain, a title whose scope reflects what he had built until his death in 873. The cause is unknown. No dramatic last battle, no named illness. The sources record it and fall silent. For a man who had left wreckage across 3 countries, that blankness is almost the strangest thing about him. The legend says he made one final request. He asked to be buried on the coast of England, not Ireland, not Scandinavia. England, so that his body would stand guard, a talisman against future conquest of the territories he had taken. A dead man, still commanding.
He destroyed the royal dynasties of Northumbria and East Anglia. He took Dumbarton, the fortress no one could take, through patience alone. He built an empire that stretched from Dublin to York by turning his limitations into a strategy and his enemies' confidence into their own undoing. He may have been carried into battle, but kings walked to their deaths because of him. His name was a curse in the mouths of every Christian in England. Boneless. They still say it, like a warning. This has been Sinister Archive. I'm Ollie. We'll see you in the dark.